Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to tell you guys about shakedowns in jails and prisons and the things that could possibly occur during those shakedowns. So for those of you that are not even familiar with the term, shakedown basically means a prison search where the whole unit, sometimes the whole institution, will be put on a lockdown and they bring in a bunch of guards and they rip up the entire thing searching for contraband. Everything, every cell, every part of the unit. They search under every table. They search inside the toilets, showers, the yard. They go around with metal detectors. They bring dogs. So it depends on where you are, how serious the shakedown could be. So some of the things that I remember most about the shakedowns and why I hated them was because if you're in a certain unit where there's a lot of gang activity, a lot of violence, a lot of drug activity, any kind of contraband, they're going to shake it down often, you know, and I was in some places where there was a lot of violence and they were shaking us down like every other day, sometimes 2-3 days in a row, day after day, back to back. And for those of you that haven't endured something like that, you're probably wondering what's the big deal. They come in, they search your stuff, and you move on. It's not that simple. So everybody gets strip searched first, which is nothing. We always do. But they really mess your shit up. So I'm living in a 2-man cell most of the time. You know, I'm in a 6x9 space, a little cage. And we have to make use in the best way possible of that space, respecting each other's privacy as we can and keeping things clean and neat. You know, so there was always a regimen as far as cleaning the cell. You know, I would never let a cellmate be dirty. Never. They also had to shower. You know, we had hygiene standards in there. And some of these places, when they did the shakedowns, like the one I mentioned, the guards would go out of their way to make a mess and really fuck shit up. For example, sometimes they would take your personal photos of family members, friends, you know, street life, anything it was, and they would rip them up, all right? Other times, they would come in and they would rip up your mail. They tear it all to shreds. Sometimes they'd bring the dog in, and the dog would fuck shit up in there. I had workout bags out of water. I made water bags using garbage bags and the laundry bags that they gave us, and I made some kind of handle. I would work out with those. They would come in and stab it and just leak everywhere, which is fine. It's my fault. I'm not supposed to have it. Sometimes they would pull all your stuff, rip off all your bed sheets, throw it on the ground, and dump water on it. It's never happened to me, but I know that some guards actually would pee on your stuff. They would literally pee on your stuff. This is all you have in life at this point, and they would pee on it. So think about how messed up that would be. You know, they would take anything that you're not allowed to have. Any little thing that, you know, it's no big deal in the free world, it's contraband to them. They take it. A pen, for example. You can't have a pen. They take your pens. You know, it's just a bunch of shit that you have to deal with. It's a big mess, and sometimes it takes hours to clean up after they shake the place down. And then for it to happen again the very next day, you could imagine how some people were getting very pissed off about that, myself included. Obviously, they would look for drugs. They would look for weapons. There are a lot of ways to hide your stuff where they're not going to find it. All right? So I don't want to go into details about the things that I did, but I'll tell you one thing. All right? So the way I was able to hide shanks, you know, jail-made knives, basically, was behind the toilet. All right? So it's a metal toilet and sink. The sink is on top and the toilet's attached to it. So it's attached to the wall, the cell block wall. And I removed the grout, okay, where it connects. And the shanks, I was able to slide in there. I tied a piece of dental floss to them, slide them in there, right, as far as I could, and I would reseal what was supposed to be grout with soap. So I would use soap and I would dirty it up a little bit to match the color of the rest around the toilet, and I would reseal it and put it in there. And they never found it. I don't know why. You know, they should have just stuck something back there, but they never found them like that. Other people would take their shanks and flush them down the toilet. Same logic with a string. They tie a long string to it and keep that little piece of string out. But that is easy to get caught because they look for that. Other people would hide shanks or razor blades somewhere in their bunk. They found those a lot of the times. So sometimes you get caught, sometimes you don't. But this is what happens, and it can happen at any moment. And when it happens, you don't have time to react. Sometimes, I would get word ahead of time. Someone would look out and tell me they're going to shake down your unit, and I would get rid of whatever contraband I had. I'd be fine. Other times, most of the time, they just barge through the door with all these guys, and everyone has to just, strip search, and everyone is not allowed to touch anything. Whatever you have on you, they search, so it's just a messed up thing to go through when it happens often, especially. Another thing with shakedowns is in state prison. There was this one prison I was in that they would bring in guards on buses, like 2-3 busloads of guards from other prisons. They would come in and they would do the shakedowns of the prisons. And when this happened, they would take all of us, out of the cell blocks and put us in the gym. All right, there was a gym there, basically like a basketball court. And they would make us sit there on our knees, all right, on our knees on this hard floor for up to 8 hours straight while they ripped the whole prison apart, searching. 8 hours. And during that time, you can't go to the bathroom, you can't talk, you can't do anything. They tell you flat out, if you move, we're going to stomp you out and drag you the fuck out of here and leave a trail of blood. They tell you that. And there were a couple people who didn't take that seriously and thought that because they had to go to the bathroom, they could raise their hand or something and ask, and the guards would beat the shit out of these guys very badly. So for the people that couldn't hold it, they would actually go to the bathroom on themselves in their pants during these shakedowns. 8 hours is a long time to be on your knees. My legs were numb. After the first hour, my legs were already numb from being on that hard floor. So, that is a really messed up thing to have happened. I don't know if that's still happening, but I'm sure it is in a lot of places. Some of these guards are just very evil. They take pleasure in beating people and hurting people and making others suffer. They don't see us as humans. They see us as garbage. That's it. We're fucking cons, and we don't deserve any kind of human treatment. They treat us worse than animals. And that's how it is. That's how it goes. It's part of the whole thing. So those kinds of shakedowns in that particular prison were the worst. Just because, normally it's like a half hour, maybe an hour. They take you out of the unit. Sometimes they don't even take you out of the unit. They just rip it apart while you're in there. But those were bad because of that, them beating people up. That was really messed up. They also use these dogs, these German shepherds that are vicious. And they bring them and they let those dogs get right next to your face. I remember one shakedown, I was in my bunk. I always had the bottom bunk for the most part. And they just pop my cell door open and I turn and there's a fucking big head like this of a vicious dog drooling and all of a sudden started barking like crazy, trying to lunge at me and bite me right in my face. So it wasn't a pleasant thing to wake up to. I woke up, I'm like, what the fuck is this? But, it's part of it also, guys. It happens. So that's basically how it is. It depends on where you are. It could be more severe. It could be less. Some institutions do it more often. Some places, they didn't shake down at all. Or we would know when they were doing it because they did it every 90 days or something. So we could anticipate it. But the thing they're looking for most is drugs and weapons. So usually anytime there's a violent act committed, someone gets stabbed, they would shake down immediately after because they want to get those weapons off of the tiers. And that's it, guys. I wanted to share this with you for those of you that are not aware of the things that happen in there. This is it. It's all part of the life. It's nothing to be proud of, nothing cool about it. It's humiliating, it's degrading, and you just have to go through it. You just have to suffer. There's nothing you can do about it. And they're literally coming in for the time that we're there. That's our home. That's our house, that little cell. And they're destroying your shit. And they're laughing at you and talking shit to you while they do it. And there's nothing you could do about it. So to sum up, as always, I advise you guys, just stay the fuck out of jails and prisons. Please. You don't need to have these kinds of memories and stories for yourselves to learn not to go there. Please, take my advice and trust me when I tell you, you don't want to be there. It's not the place to be. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.